You know, the other thing about why is it so expensive is because in the old days, when most of the use was for children, and by the way, endocrinologists were very involved in the children business. And usually what happens is a child who's this big, another year goes by, he's not growing. So they take him to the pediatrician, and he thinks it's something to do with the pituitary. He sends him to the endocrinologist. He does his usual $2 million investigation. He finds, says, oh yeah, he needs growth hormone. He has a growth hormone deficiency. Back in those days, until the late 80s, they were getting growth hormone extracted from the pituitary glands of cadavers, dead people. The problem with that source is, number one, amounts. It was never really that much for everybody that needs it. But the bigger issue was, since it came from a living creature, whether it's a human or an animal, in a few people it had a very nasty immune reaction, which showed itself as a very nasty brain disease. And for that, by the early 90s, I think it was early 90s, when the FDA outlawed that source. This was about at the same time that the two projects on the human genome were coming out with their information. So once you decipher the human genome, if you know the structure of anything, you can literally make it from thin air in the lab. Growth hormone is a very large molecule made up of 191 amino acids. Of course, they have to be arranged in a specific way. They cannot just be 191 amino acids that you throw together. It's a very specific sequence. And by the way, the human genome has given rise to this whole new industry in the pharmaceutical business, which is called the biotech industry. Companies like Genentech, Amgen, there's so many. So they have the knowledge to make that stuff. And because it's produced in this manner, that's what makes it phenomenally expensive. So whereas you can get all other hormones for, let's say per month, $100 or less, this one you're talking a minimum of $500. And you want to get the fancy one, you can be talking about $1,000. So many people I see, they could use growth hormone, but they can't afford it. So then I say, look, if you eat right, exercise, take whatever else you need like testosterone, you're still going to make a huge improvement. And who knows, maybe someday in the future you can afford growth hormone.